Hello, I'm in a robe. I'm very tired. I had some very tragic real life stuff happen, and I'm refilming this video partly because I wanted to make a video on the charts, and I did make a video on the charts, and it ended up being a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. And then I saw this article titled, posted in Stereogum, on Stereogum, I should say, and it is titled, BTS and their fan army are rendering the pop charts useless. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm refilming my video today because let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion. I have a headache. I have been very angry all week, and so I'm about to take out my aggression on a middle-aged white man in this video. That's what this is. So stick around if you want to see that. Stereogum, BTS and their fan army are rendering the pop charts useless. Silly armies. Written, posted today, June 2nd, written by Tom Brehan. Listen, I mean, I guess the point of articles like this is to get engagement, and so I realize I'm playing into it with the outrage. But again, because I wanted to talk about the charts now, I figured, you know what, it's a good time. I'm not going to link the article in the description. This man does not deserve clicks because this article is pretty poorly written. This article has a lot of factual inaccuracies regarding the charts, regarding BTS, regarding how Butter got #1, and regarding how different music formats work. There are weird digs in here at other artists that have nothing to do with BTS. It's wild. So Tom Brehan, he does have a Twitter. I'm sure that's going to go well for him after he posted this. I'm sure this is going to be great. The reaction I've seen on Twitter so far is that most people are actually against this man because, again, ridiculous fucking article. So let's get started. I don't know how old he is. I'm assuming he has to be in his 30s, if not 40s. So first thing I want to know is this sentence. BTS and their handlers delivered a piece of product designed to attract as many consumers as possible into their whole thing. They succeeded. Dynamite came out in August of 2020, promptly debuted at #1 of the Billboard Hot 100, becoming the first K-pop single to ever scale those heights. BTS and their handlers. Let's talk about it. I'm just going to talk about it. I know I shouldn't also white, but I'm going to talk about it. That's xenophobic, right? This idea that K-pop idols have handlers, but white artists don't. Eastern artists have handlers, are controlled, are guided by people other than themselves, do not have the agency to control their career or what type of music they release. BTS and their handlers. You would never say that about Taylor Swift. You would never say that about Ariana Grande. You would never say that about Olivia Rodrigo, who's the new big thing. You would never say that about Billie Eilish. I just named a ton of women. You would never say that about the Jonas Brothers. You would never say that about Charlie Puth. You would never say that about Shawn Mendes. You would never say that about... who else is even out there? My music taste. You would never say that about Megan Thee Stallion. You would never say that about DaBaby or Drake or Nicki. You would never say that about a Western artist. That sentence is xenophobic, sir. One more thing to add as I'm editing this and I'm reading that sentence, right? It is especially weird to me. It's weird to me that he would say BTS and their handlers, and he would never say it about a Western artist. When we have a situation right now where Britney Spears, who is a massive pop star, literally has handlers because she actually cannot control her life and her finances. It's a very sad situation. So for this man to invoke this handler terminology, this handler word, this handler image is very jarring to me and very bad, and he should not have said that. He then calls Dynamite a genuine smash. It was. People enjoyed Dynamite. I don't know why you would think Butter is not a genuine smash. Why you don't think people enjoy this song like they enjoy Dynamite. If it's Butter's not your cup of tea, that's fine, but okay. Then he says some funny things happened. And this is where things get weird and inaccurate. So since last September, BTS have notched up 3 more #1 hits on top of Dynamite. So that's the Savage Love remix. That is Life Goes On. And then Butter now. So there's this weird dig about fading American dance pop singer Jason Derulo. I don't know why we felt the need to dig at Jason Derulo like that. Jason Derulo has an interesting career. He might not have as many radio hits on it anymore, but like he's certainly really big on TikTok right now, and like he's come in and out of the zeitgeist as he pleases, essentially. So you know what? And like, yeah, like people call him cheesy. I'll agree with that, but like, you know what? I've never outright hated it. Well, that's a lie. I didn't like Savage Love before BTS got on it. Before you all even say anything about that, Suga and J-Hope's verses on that song are actually really good. Really good. And also, it was worth it to hear Jungkook say the fuck word. Okay? Okay. But, you know, I'll do anything. BTS goes, I follow. That's what happens. So, but all of his other songs, I was like, okay, it's fine. It's okay. It's fine. And I'll make a point again about this later, but I think that we have a very weird skew of popularity, a very weird view on how art should work in conjunction to popularity and what art in music is valid versus invalid, but we'll get there later. And I think that this dig on Jason Derulo kind of shows that, especially in this piece. He then makes a point that Life Goes On was the first Korean language single to ever top the Hot 100. Gangnam Style, which peaked at number 2 in the period just before Billboard YouTube streams to figure out the chart, got robbed. Okay, I'm not gonna fight that against. Sure, okay, Gangnam Style probably should have went number 1. Okay, Gangnam Style being popular and viral on YouTube and not going number 1 is probably why Billboard put the YouTube streams in there. Okay. So a week and a half ago, BTS released Butter. True statement. Sounds a lot like Dynamite. I don't think so. It is as upbeat and as dancey as Dynamite, but I don't think it sounds like Dynamite at all. Sorry. And I mean, I guess this is up to personal preference. I guess you could shove songs like Butter and Dynamite in the same category, but then you'd also have to put like Boy With Love in there because Boy With Love is in that same vein. You'd have to put Blue Hour, which is not by BTS, but in the same vein, right? Like, I guess you could say Butter and Dynamite are the same genre of songs, but it does have actually a very different vibe, very different tone than Dynamite does. So he says the entire creation of Butter feels oddly murky. It's not. You want to know how Butter was created? This is what happens when BTS request English language singles. It is a new process to them as of last year, but it's now a process and something that'll probably continue. So please get used to BTS releasing in English. But basically, they ask through Columbia, as Columbia is their distributor. We'll get to Ron Perry in a second. To ask around for songs for BTS. People then go through the usual high process of sending songs in. Once they are asked, you have to be asked in order to send a song in, but when you are asked, you can send your song in. And then the boys themselves, plus their in-house producers, mostly P-Dog and Bang Shi-Hyuk, will listen to the songs, and from there, choose the one they like the most. They heard Butter, they liked Butter the most, they chose that one. And then from there, they will change and edit lyrics, composition, add things, take things out, as necessary to make the song a BTS song. For Butter specifically, RM wrote the rap parts for Suga and J-Hope and himself, and he made it so that the English rap would sound very close to the styles of Suga and J-Hope, whose lyrics were not chosen, essentially. And then he says one of the 7 credit songwriters. Lots of songwriters on pop songs are a normal thing. It's a normal thing. Look at any pop song. It's almost never just 1 or 2 people. Like, it's a normal thing. This idea of art being more authentic when it has less collaborators is disgusting to me. Especially for something as grand and flamboyant as pop music. Of course there's going to be a lot of people involved. Are you kidding me? This man is insane. He references that Ron Perry is on the track, a man with no previous songwriting experience. I don't know if that's true necessarily, partly because sometimes songwriters do not go by their regular name, so you don't actually know what's credited to Ron Perry or not. Taylor Swift, who is weirdly missing from this article, but we'll get there. Taylor Swift ghostwrites all the time. All the time. This is the thing we know. Calvin Harris told us that, right? Ron Perry, I think, particularly used to be like a sound engineer or something. He used to do types of recording stuff and recording work. So it's not that much of a stretch to say that maybe he suggested something here or there that got him the songwriting credit, especially how songwriting credits work. If you suggest something and they take it, then you get a credit. So if Ron Perry was like, oh, what if you do this in the song? And they said, that's a good idea, Ron Perry, we'll take it. Or Ron Perry was like, here, the song's name should be Butter. It should be Smooth Like Butter or some shit. Like, say, I don't know. Like, he gets a songwriting credit. Even if he only had, like, 1 or 2 words contributed, that's how it works. It's weird to me that you are contributing for a music website and you don't know how songwriting credits work, sir. Mentioned Snow Group has cracked out their first number one singles as quickly since the Jackson 5 in 1970. Congratulations, BTS. You are huge and legendary. And then, here's another thing. There's a dig at Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake notched his first 4 chart toppers even faster in 2006 and 2007, which is weird. Timberlake only ever reached number 1 once as a member of NSYNC, and none of the hits from his massively successful 2002 solo debut, Justified, made it to the top. The album that gave Justin Timberlake, and I know we're all kind of like Justin Timberlake antis now, but like, let's like not be revisionist. Let's just talk about what was happening in 2006 and 2007 that got Justin Timberlake his 4 number 1 chart toppers. I want to say it was in like 7 months or whatever I read this morning. His album Future Sex Love Sounds had came out, which was a very big reinvention of his look and his sound. His first album, Justified, mentioned here, was produced with Pharrell and the Neptunes. And meanwhile, this album was produced with Timberland. It was much more poppier. I don't know if you guys remember this at the time, and this might just be my experience because I'm in the New York media market, but the radio before 2006, in between particularly 2001 and 2006, was very dreary and very depressing because 9/11 happened and everyone was kind of fucked up over it, right? Obviously. But Justin Timberlake came out with Sexy Back and Future Sex Love Sounds late 2006, and that really switched radio over from dreary and depressing to pop music. And I would argue the success of Future Sex Love Sounds led the radio doors open, not entirely every other radio doors open for acts like Kesha and Lady Gaga, because now that we were all in an upbeat mood, now that we wanted to party some more, we could get the pop girls back, right? Just on radio. Don't come here and say, oh my God, why are you saying Justin Timberlake led to the success of Lady Gaga? I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying radio-wise, especially in 2006, like number one was like you had to be all on the radio all the time. But like that was a big album. So I don't know why he's saying it's weird that Justin Timberlake did that, because that was a big album. But it's not weird. Justin Timberlake is actually very popular. It's not weird that he was able to get 4 number 1 singles on that, because during that time he was literally all over the place. All over the place. Okay, then he goes to say Butter is not the most popular song in America right now. Billboard figures out its charts through some arcane combination of streaming sales and radio play. Butter made it to number 1 almost entirely based on sales of discounted digital singles. I'm reading the paragraph straight up before I pick this apart. Butter did get a lot of streams, but it didn't get as many as the 3 most popular songs from Olivia Rodrigo's debut album. At radio, the biggest song in America right now is Leave the Door Open, the retro soul ballad from Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak's Silk Sonic project. Their Butter isn't even a factor, period. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Is the Billboard Hot 100 measuring the number 1 song in America right now, or is it measuring artists' songs' impact and engagement? Those are 2 different things, right? Is Spotify measuring accurately what the most popular songs are, or are they selling people what the most popular songs are? There's a difference between measuring what the most popular song is and then selling people saying this is the most popular song. Radio, historically, has never been accurate as to what's actually popular. Radio artists and popular artists are very often two different artists. Hence, with BTS, later on in this piece, he's go, oh no, BTS, even in the beginning, BTS is huge. They sell out stadiums. So why don't you believe that Butter can be the #1 song in the country right now and have minimal radio play and not be the biggest streamed? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing with Spotify, and this was in my original video too, right? Here's the thing. BTS on Spotify have one of the most insane and biggest filtering rates. This was a thing all last week on Army Twitter. I don't know, you were not around, I guess, to see it, but Butter's first day streams, global, talk global. Butter's first day streams globally were 20.9 million, but were filtered down to 11 million, which is a 47% filter rate. And throughout the week, it kind of just stayed there. I think it got down to the mid-30s at one point, but it was still much higher than any other artist. Most artists, the average filter rate is 5%. So, can you tell me, accurately tell me, that Butter is not the most streamed song in the US? You're just going to trust the numbers the corporate streaming service gives you, even though if you even just do a couple little Googling, you will see that there is an anomaly happening. And if you want to know why I think the anomaly is happening, I think it has to do with the Spotify filtering algorithm, because it's not like a person is shifting through all of this, right? It's the algorithm. I think the algorithm, particularly on Spotify, compares like cases, similar cases to each other. So like it takes like the metadata it gets from the song, genre, artist, length, how many beats per minute, right? And then it also takes info from the listeners of a song. So do the listeners of Butter listen to a lot of pop music? Do the listeners of Butter listen to a lot of rock music? Like, what's the average listener like? And then from there, it compares like cases with similar listeners, similar BPMs, similar genres, right? And because BTS is such a phenomenon and an outlier in themselves, I think the Spotify algorithm sees it and sees the amount of engagement, the amount of hits that Butter gets, the amount of on-demand streams that Butter gets, and it goes, that can't be right because the like cases of Butter don't get that many streams, and so it gets this high filtering rate. The other thing you need to know about particularly Olivia Rodrigo's debut album in Spotify is that there was a marketing deal in place between Olivia Rodrigo's team and Spotify. And so I think that's why a lot of armies were angry, and that's why this kind of reads a little weird to me, because it's like, you know, Spotify does not is not accurate. I don't think Spotify's numbers are accurate. I think that their streams are very much affected by their algorithm, not just the filtering algorithm, but also the recommendation algorithm. There are so many artists and music advocacy groups that come out and say that Spotify is just payola. Spotify came out and said, oh, if you cut your royalty rates, we'll give you better playlisting. How is that not payola? Do you know who got better playlisting? Do I need to spell it out for you? Do you know who got better playlisting than Butter got? So don't come here and tell me, oh, Olivia had more streams. Yeah, I wonder why. It's very obvious in front of you, right? Like, do not come out here and say Spotify's streams or anyone's streams are better or worse than Butter based on the numbers that you're just given. Even though there's so many people that are out here saying that Spotify is shady. Radio has always been shady. Always. And again, radio, even today, radio artists, radio songs that are popular on the radio, very different from songs that are popular on Spotify, very different from songs that sell a lot. Right? It's different than what the actual most popular song in America is. So again, my question is, what does the Billboard Hot 100 measure? What do we want it to measure? I personally want it to measure organic interest in a song week to week. Not necessarily popular, organic interest in a song week to week, because then music industry professionals can see, okay, these artists are what actual consumers, people who will put their money behind things, people who will take their time to listen to a song behind things, will engage with. It doesn't mean that, oh, a playlist recommended this song to me. That doesn't mean, oh, I heard the song to the radio 7 times. It means the shit that I actually listen to and engage with. So he says Butter sits at number 1 because BTS has effectively mobilized their tireless fan army. This is something that annoys me. I'm going to bring this Grimace up in this video because it annoys me. The term fan army did not exist before BTS named their fan base armies. Sorry, so when you see best fan army, no, like, it's the name fan army is because armies are named armies. Just so we know. So let's not. Fandom. Fandom. The word you're looking for, tireless fandom. BTS sold downloads of Butter for 69 cents. They also sold an instrumental version and a remix. Those are 69% too, and the zeros count towards chart fortunes of BTW. Okay. Let's get our facts straight. Okay, yes, the version is 69 cents. But this number 1 that was announced on June 1st, that was only Butter in the instrumental remix, in the instrumental. There were no physicals. The Hotter remix didn't come until midnight on Friday, which will count for the next tracking week. Those sales of the remix are not included in these numbers that you're talking about. So, please just check times. There are tweets with timestamps. You could check the YouTube video of the Hotter remix and see when it was uploaded and go, oh, wait, that doesn't count for the charts, because the charts are from midnight on Friday to 11:59 the next Thursday. It's not hard. And the other thing too, it's really just interesting to me that this article is pointing out and saying BTS is ruining the charts, when not that long ago, 6 months ago, it's June, 6 months ago, Taylor Swift was selling Willow for 39 cents because she almost didn't top Mariah Carey during December. So, and you cannot tell me that All I Want for Christmas Is You is not the most popular. If we're going by your pure definition, All I Want for Christmas Is You is the most popular song in America in December, no matter what. So you can't, like, there was no criticism of that. You're just going to leave that be? Show me Spotify playlist, Tom. And then he goes, because we're happy to buy a song. If you look at the charts, then you're going to get a completely distorted idea of how popular BTS actually are. Stadiums of people sold out minutes in this country. They're pretty popular. I don't know why you think that an artist that can sell, because listen, you know what? Olivia Rodrigo, who you were defending, Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, who you were trying to defend and say that they had more popular songs than BTS do at the moment. Those artists cannot sell out stadiums. They can't. They can do arenas. Maybe they can do a really successful arena tour and make a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with that. They cannot sell out stadiums, though. That's a lot of tickets. Here. It's not like there are people flying. I mean, some people do, but like here in the US, stadiums. I've been there. I've been to 3 of those shows. I'm going to go to more when they're allowed to tour. I don't know what you want. I don't know how to just tell you that BTS is really popular here, and the chart is like a reflection of that. Record labelers have always tried to juke the chart sales. But again, no question about Olivia Rodrigo and Spotify's marketing package. No questions about that, huh? Not a single question. There have also been past stretches where Billboard charts haven't been a useful metric and figure out what's actually popular. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure why you think that sales are not. a good metric of popularity. But we'll get there. We'll get there. He says the Hot 100 is the best historic marker we have for what's big at any specific time in gaming the system. BTS are fucking that whole thing up. Are they? Is it BTS fucking that whole thing up? Or is it just so many other factors? One of the things that a recent thing that just happened was when Leave the Door Open and Levitating were going up against each other for number one. And this was actually pretty alarming because the Billboard charts had delayed their announcement of the chart for a while. And everyone on ARMY Twitter was like, okay, they're doing something, there's some fuckery going on. The reason why they had to delay the chart is because Dua Lipa stans had used VPNs to buy her single, and all of those needed to be filtered out. And because there was so much, it took longer to filter that out. And then Dua Lipa did not get her first number one because of that. No one used any VPN. I mean, I can't promise that, but like using VPNs to buy singles is not a strategy of armies. It's not. Just buying singles is. Just straight up just purchasing singles, right? Again, here's the thing. If you have a group that inspires people to put actual money down, take their actual money and purchase a single versus just listening to it on Spotify versus just waiting for the radio to play it, right? Why is that not a good measure of popularity? What do you need to be measured then, if not sales? Especially because Billboard is an industry chart, right? And like, here's the thing, right? Like, I feel like this premise of it needs to measure what's popular in the entire country, that's not necessarily true. Billboard is an industry chart. It's an industry publication. So Billboard needs to measure what is useful to the industry. You know what's useful to the industry? Sales. Selling things. We live in a capitalistic hellscape. Billboard cares about what it sells more than what is streamed, more than what's played on the radio, because streaming does not it doesn't give any revenue. We know this. Again, many artist advocacy groups talk about how bad Spotify is in regards to royalties, in regards to playlisting, and how unfair it is, right? Many artist advocacy groups have gone against radio too. And artists don't get paid when you play a song on the radio. You don't. So what is useful to the industry as a whole, and you should know this as an industry writer, you should fucking know this, what's useful to the industry is sales, which is why sales are weighted higher and why it is a big deal that BTS get a lot of fucking sales, because a lot of people put their money behind them. And everyone wants a fan army. Everyone wants a fandom like armies are. Every single artist wants a fandom as dedicated and as willing to put their money up as armies are. And you're stupid if you don't think so. And the only reason why you're discrediting BTS like this, the only reason why this article exists talking about how BTS are fucking it up, is because you do not see what the underlying motivation of everything is, which is just money. It's not popularity, it's not notoriety, it's not critical acclaim, it is money. So when fans put money up for something, Billboard wants to measure that and is going to measure that heavier and give that the number one over when fans are not putting money up for something, or when fans put less money up for something. Okay, he does bring up Taylor Swift later. He says, like, it's not just BTS. Thus far this year, 10 number songs have made it to number one on the Hot 100. Yes, because it's measuring sales. You could accuse Taylor Swift of something similar with the 2 number hits that she released in 2020. Yes, because Billboard is measuring sales. These days, it's not just the artists and the record labelers who are trying to give the charts, it's the fans too. If BTS were just given a fair chance on this side of the industry, we would not have to do this. But BTS gets very little radio play compared to their peers. BTS gets very little promotion compared to their peers. BTS do not actually have a US label. This article acts like Columbia is their label. Columbia is not their label. Columbia is their distributor that sometimes does a little extra when they release a single in English. Columbia did nothing for Life Goes On. Not a thing. There was like maybe 5 radio plays for Life Goes On, and radio didn't play it at all, right? BTS's primary management, primary label in Korea, which means in here, for our purposes, that they are an independent band. And if you looked into it, if you did any amount of Google searching, literally any amount, and I can tell you did not, you would also realize that BTS have a lot of control over their careers and label, actually. So the 7 of them have a pretty sizable stake for an artist. They're not like major shareholders, but the combination of the 7 of them and their shares, like, it's a pretty sizable stake. And they probably, not even properly, they're pretty happy with their label. They've never really complained about it publicly. And then he goes, it's not just record labels who are trying to game the charts, it's the fans too. Billboard messed around with the rules a few times to keep things like that from happening, but fans keep figuring out new ways to push that not popular songs to number 1. A lot of times these songs plummet out of the top 10 almost immediately after getting their 1 week at number 1. It feels like a broken system. You know what? I will agree to you that our charting rules and our streaming rules and our radio rules are a broken system. But once again, Billboard is measuring sales primarily, streams second, radio play third, because sales are what develop the revenue that labels, including BTS's label, are looking for. That is what is useful to the industry, because Billboard is an industry chart that we just use in pop culture, right? Armies really want BTS to succeed because we believe in the message, and also they're just fun as hell. It's fun. I have fun doing this. I have fun talking about BTS. I have fun being into BTS, okay? It is not my fault that you are a being that lives a life so boring and so lifeless that you do not have fun when you listen to BTS. But that is not my problem, Tom. And also, they stopped bundling. A lot of the, cases he mentions in this paragraph, 6ix9ine, Travis Scott, they all got to number 1 via bundling, which is when you would sell an item plus a CD. So you would sell, like, a t-shirt, and it would come with this free CD. It would ship on release day, and then it would count as a sale, right? And so if you went to go buy merch, or if ticket sales, right? Garth Brooks, I think it was. There was a country singer that at the beginning of literally the beginning of COVID, when he knew he wasn't going to tour, still sold ticket bundles anyway, and then canceled the tour. Which, I mean, I hope there's a class action somewhere about that, because oh my god. But those were bundles. Taylor Swift's 2 number 1s, what was it, Cardigan and Willow? Again, Cardigan had bundles because it didn't count at the time. It was after Cardigan that rule went into play. And then Willow, again, 39 cents. So I don't really know what you're complaining about here. And you know what? I'm not even really going to fault Taylor Swift for discounting her Willow to 39 cents, because first of all, it had like 4 remixes at the beginning of the week, and she was fighting against Mariah Carey. So it's not like I'm holding that against her. That's fine. Whatever. Get your number 1. I'm holding that fact against the writer here, because why was that? Why is BTS's single 2 versions being 69 cents a problem for you, but Taylor Swift having 5 versions of her song be 39 cents not a problem? Okay, he mentions BTS are massively possible. They've changed Korean laws. My public opinion on the mandatory military service for Korean men. If you don't know, every man in Korea has to serve in the military for it's 18 months, I think, right now. My public opinion on that is to look up the history of the Korean War and how the U.S. got involved in setting up South Korea. That's my public opinion. Editing me in a different location. I feel like I need to clarify that, because like if you just start Googling things, you're not going to know whether I agree or disagree. There was a lot done in the fight against communism that should not have been done. That war was one of them. And that's my onion. Look at what Koreans think about the continued US military base that sits in the middle of Seoul. That's my opinion. Let's look at that. BTS keep appearing on American TV because people want to see them. Okay. But people don't want to listen to the song. People want to see BTS. The TV's muted, though. Whenever I watch BTS and Jimmy Fallon, I make sure that TV is muted. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself? Dynamite was a legit #1 hit. Oh, legit versus unlegit, right? Like Butter. Maybe I'll count to Butter in the same way too, but I have my doubts. Instead, I'll be dealing with a situation where everyone is working to inflate certain numbers and to... How are these numbers inflated? These are real sales. These are tangible sales. I can show you the MP3 of Butter on my computer, right? I can show you them. How are these sales inflated? If people really purchase them and really put money in them, how is that an inflated number? How are the filtered versus unfiltered stream rates being as big as they are, not inflating? Right? How is filtering BTS 47% and then filtering everyone else only 5%, not inflating everyone else's numbers? How? Please let me know. But I would love to know, because I don't get it. It ultimately doesn't matter how many times BTS gets to #1 in America. You're right, because no matter how many times it gets to #1, we're still gonna have assholes like you, Tom, who write shit like this. It doesn't matter. You're right. You're right. The #1 doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove anything. I'm literally only shitting on this article because I'm having a bad week and I'm on my period and I really just want to tear something apart. But we will always have op-eds and we will always have think pieces about this because God forbid the East Asian group actually be popular. Could not imagine anyone liking anything other than white groups, huh? Not even that. You took a dig at Justin Timberlake. You can't even imagine anything being actually popular. If Justin Timberlake in 2006 wasn't popular to you, then what is popular to you? What is your definition of popularity if not putting money behind something you enjoy? Do you understand how ridiculous this article is? It's frustrating to see a phenomenon like this inflating the stats. Once real sales, real people buying this. I don't understand where you're getting this inflated stat, this inflated word from. Nothing is inflated. People actually brought Butter. I'm writing both a column and a book, of course, about #1 singles, of course, so I have a vested professional interest in these charts not getting completely fucked up. But even as a fan of passive observer, it's not a fun thing to watch. Organic popularity, once a driving force behind pop music. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear? Organic popularity is the driving force behind pop music? Organic popularity is the driving force. Organic. That's really what you're going to say? You're going to say it used to be organic. You're going to say that there hasn't been manipulation. And you did. Like, you're contradicting yourself because you said record label stuff always tried to manipulate the charts. But, the sanctity, the sacred Billboard Hot 100. Oh, how dare the peasants spend 69 cents on a K-pop song. That's not even really a K-pop song because it's in English. How dare. How dare. Pop charts are turning into a battlefield for warring stan armies. Yeah, in the video I filmed before this and delete it, and I'm replacing it with this video, I did say that I think in the future, fandom and fandom engagement is going to be more important for music charts and music engagement. I don't think that's a bad thing. This guy clearly does. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing to have a big fandom that's really engaged with you, because that's really the only way you can truly make sure that you're not going to fall from the top, unless if there's like a big scandal or something. But again, like, I pretty much trust BTS to not have a huge scandal. But I don't think this guy thinks it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing, because otherwise, what are we leaving it up to? If it's not massive, actual, real people actually really buying these songs and supporting their favorite artists, then you're leaving it up to the Spotify algorithm that everyone knows is very easily influenced by a couple of $1,000s. You're leaving it up to radio, which everyone knows is very easily influenced by a couple $1,000s and is not based on a request or anything. You're leaving it up to recommendations and tech companies to really, because you're moving into the future, not even music is moving into the future, you're living up to TikTok, who promotes songs to their top creators to use and saying, oh, if you use these songs, we'll put your song on we'll put your videos on the For You page more than we'll put other videos, right? Like, you're leaving it up to these tech companies who are not regulated to recommend songs. How is that popularity? How is it organic popularity to fix an algorithm to recommend a song to you versus having your massive fandom buy songs? Because here's the thing, the only algorithm now that recommends BTS is the YouTube algorithm, because BTS promotes a lot of watch time, and the YouTube algorithm likes watch time. It's not particularly because of BTS themselves, it's just because of the watch time. The Spotify and TikTok algorithms do not recommend BTS. The reason BTS have a really massive fandom is because it had a lot of people who could translate Korean to English, translate their lyrics, and spread them around. And then when you saw a cute clip with a translation and you got into it or whatever, you were able to walk into the fandom and have it be really accessible, right? For me, I saw a Fake Love performance. I was like, this song is good. I looked it up, listened to it a couple times, and then when I got into the fandom, I saw, oh my god, there's all these people translating and all of these fan accounts that are doing all of these things, right? It makes it accessible. Okay, he goes on to say there's no real answer for this, because there's no answer. The answer is that Billboard measures sales for the industry that you have a professional interest in. Then you would know that it's measuring sales, because again, men. He also says the fuckery in the Billboard charts is merely a symptom of a larger societal fuckery, but it's still fuckery. Okay, once again, we are moving towards a time where groups are going to matter more than the individual, okay? And that's fine. That is okay, right? It's going to lead to a lot of good. But, like, it's, like, you know what? No, like, he's acting like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And, again, in that entire article, I have not one idea what he considers popular. How is this, what makes a song popular? It can't be Spotify, because Spotify, and even like the streams you see on Spotify often aren't the filtered ones, and the filtered streams are what they report to Billboard, right? So, like, it's very frustrating to me. I've read and took about that article to show everybody what it is, what these people think of BTS. It's very xenophobic. And it's very just like, why are you siding on Spotify's side when, again, there are so many musicians who have good songs that are out here saying Spotify is bad. It's more complicated than that, but they're saying, no, the Spotify playlisting system is just a modern version of payola, because you can pay to get higher playlisting. Again, Spotify had a marketing deal with Olivia Rodrigo. A very heavy one. So, like, it just does not make any sense to me that you're going to sit here and write an article like this and not do your research and not even give me a real definition of what you consider popular. You know what I consider popular? I consider popular something that drives people to engage. Popular is when a lot of people go to watch a viral YouTube video. Popular is when a lot of people buy tickets to a stadium show. That's popular. And you said all the time, oh, BTS is very popular, but not popular enough for you to just accept that Butter is #1 without talking about fuckery on the charts. We're not the ones fucking around on the charts. We just figured, you're just angry that we figured it out. You're just angry that something that wasn't industry approved, checkmarked by whatever, didn't make it. So that's today's video. That was really cathartic. I feel better after doing that. Thank you, Tom, for being my punching bag for a little bit. I hope you listen to more BTS songs and like look into it and learn something. And I will see everybody next week. It's gonna be a Bo Burnham video about the Bo Burnham Inside thing. I do have to watch it a couple more times though, because there's a lot that happens. There's a lot that I missed, and I want to do like a really detailed kind of watch through. But that'll be next week's video. And then the video after that is going to be another BTS video, but it's their anniversary, so I'm allowed to. Okay, socials in the description. Link to that article is in the description, but don't click on it. I basically read you the whole thing anyway. Don't click on it, though. Don't give him the clicks. Okay. Love you. Please subscribe and comment.